Hey everybody, this is Matt Taylor with Black Sheep Off-Road Racing, and I'm doing an installation video on some Canton products on my 302 based 347 engine. It's a DSS short block with a DSS main support system, and I really like the DSS stuff and I really like the Canton stuff. Sometimes they can be a little tricky to put together, so I'm going to show everybody what I'm doing here. So starting off, installing the Canton trapdoor oil pan. I think it's their road race oil pan. It's the 15-644 oil pan. I'll get to that in a second, but right now we're going to focus on the 15-645, which is the pickup that's associated with that pan. And I'm installing it with a Melling 10688 oil pump. So I like the Melling oil pump because it's got a support down here on the bottom side of the shaft, and it's adjustable pressure. So one of the tricky things with the DSS main support system is that where you would traditionally mount your flange that holds on the oil pump is now at a different height than where it would normally be. So you run into a couple issues. If you just try to bolt it down, you'll end up cracking this front flange on the oil pump, and I've done that once or twice. And so what I do is I heat up the Canton flange that they have welded on there, and I've always been really impressed with the Canton zinc coating and the weld quality and all that type of stuff. So I hate messing with that, but in this case I just heated it up to make it a little softer and bent it over, and it helps everything line right up. Everything is super tight with the support system on these 2-bolt mains from DSS, but they work really well, like I said. So a few other areas that I also have to clearance is this cap screw here that holds the pickup to the oil pump, and then the flange itself for the seal where the pickup bolts to the oil pump. So once that's all together, I'll show this to you here, and then we'll go through torquing it. But I find that it is easiest to go ahead and put the stuff on first, and it'll become more apparent when you see it down here, because you cannot get it together and torque stuff down once it's on. So you run into some clearance problems right down here, and that's the reason that I went in and trimmed the cap screw down and also ground off a little bit of the flange to clear the aluminum main support system. So with that in place, you can see where this bolts down to the main stud. I have to come in and trim the oil pump, or the oil pump pickup flange a little bit to slide into this aluminum surface. So that's pretty much all there is to it, and that lets it sit in the proper location that it's supposed to sit in. Everything torqued down. We torqued the cap screws down that hold on the oil pump to 40 foot-pounds, and we torqued down the stud that comes off of the main cap stud down to 45. So follow the torque sequence on everything, or torque specifications, and then we put this windage tray on. So it's important this has to go on after the oil pickup tube. So it's kind of a puzzle putting it all together, and just taking the time and having the patience to make sure it all goes together as it's supposed to. So we've got that done, and now it's time to put on the Canton pan, and this is the 15-644. So it's got the trap doors in here, and it's kind of one of those things in the off-road world. You either run a dry sump or you run the trap doors, and that just helps you when you're sitting at angles. Make sure that you keep your investment lubricated. So this one also has the windage piece that's welded in there, and it all fits with this support system. One of the things that I personally do is I always make sure that my main filtration loop always goes back to the engine. So I don't run it through any coolers. I don't run it through any other stuff any more than I have to, just the filter. And then what I do is I weld on a bung to the pan. And in this case, this is a 8AN or JIC bone that I welded on, and I painted it up after I welded it, just to keep it from rusting. And again, I hate doing that with the nice zinc coating and all that type of stuff, but anyway, that's what I do. So that allows the oil to come down here and be picked up through an auxiliary pump, and it goes through a large cooler that I have. And then I just use this really nice threaded port here for my return. So it all works out pretty well, and I've done it a few times, and it keeps my oil temps in check, and then also lets me keep my oil pressures where they belong. So last step here is we're going to go ahead and put this on. And one of the things to point out, I always use these rubber overmolded gaskets with the compression limiters. I like it because you can reuse it. So as many times as you're taking stuff on, putting stuff on, taking stuff off, it saves a lot of headache in terms of port gaskets and scraping stuff. So everything slides together pretty well. And then I personally like to use these. These just give you a little bit more grip length on your cap screws. This was just the original oil pan. I can't remember the exact terminology for it, but it's just an oil pan cap screw spacer. This came off of a Ford Explorer, which was kind of what this engine started life out as before I decided to do everything I did to it. So those just fit in place on either side and allow you to retain compression better on the cap screws and not have any leaks. So with that, we'll go ahead and torque these things down.